Hello and welcome to another Total War podcast. Here again after watching the fantastic new video on the Siege of Carthage demo for Rome 2 Total War, or Total War Rome 2, however that floats your boat. Here with some of the best YouTube commentators for Total War and many other games. I'm Lionheart and I'm joined by...
G'day guys, MrMate here.
It's me, WhiteEagle.
Let's go next.
Hey guys, it's me, SaphirePhoenix here.
Hey guys, it's Thirsty, listener, it's Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always need to get that awkward.
Wouldn't be the same.
So yeah. So as Lionheart said, we're going to be mainly discussing the demo and obviously, of course, our opinions on what we thought was good, what needs to be added, and so forth. The demo should be playing in the background. Should be starting up at the moment. And also, you got to remember that it's pre-alpha.
Yeah, it's mentioned somewhere in the video, in the actual video, that he says towards the end, he's like, oh, by the way, this is very, very early alpha work. You sort of look at it and you think, the detail in this already is the sort of scale that Shogun 2 has as high detail. What the hell is going to be coming out later?
It's insane. I think somewhere they put it might even be like pre-alpha footage. They're not even like ready to commit that it's anything near alpha yet. So if this is how good it looks, like, I don't know, kind of something they've just thrown together for a video. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It looks absolutely amazing. Now, obviously the first thing we're gonna have to kick off with is what the navy looks like, of course, and the scale of the navy. How it just pans in, like the guy's talking, and it pans into that shot of all these ships coming from behind. So, what do you guys think already from what it looks like?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard they were going to combine Navy and Army together, at first I sort of thought that's going to be amazing, and then I sort of thought about it and I thought, how are they going to incorporate this that well? You know, how's it going to work? And then seeing the video, I think they've got it spot on. I think also the great addition is you're able to sail into the port in the city, so you can actually have your ships move into the city and actually help out with the land forces, which I thought was pretty cool.
I mean, for me, I mean, the fact that now naval units aren't just a single ship, they're going to be maybe 2, 3, 4 ships in each unit, and that's to represent that. I think they've said that it should accurately show the correct number of units that each ship's carrying. So when you do build like a transport fleet, it is going to be restricted by the number of men it can actually hold. So maybe towards the end of the game, you'll develop ships that can hold more regiments or more units, sort of thing. But I just like the idea that when they did sort of land at the beach, you saw all the regiments forming out, like jumping off the sides of the ships and just forming up in their legions and things like that. And it just looked absolutely epic. And what Sapphire was saying about how that you can then divert some ships into a port or create a whole nother like flank in the battle is just going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, this is a combination of something that's probably began with the introduction of naval battles themselves in Empire, and now you've got both of them together. It's just going to be absolutely epic.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can see now with the scale that it does accurately represent how big they were, because reading some of the historical stuff, that some of the battles between Carthage and Rome alone had Rome fielding like 200 ships, in their massive fleets towards when they did their invasion of Carthage and sieging them and stuff. What I did want to see though, I'm not sure if they did have it, but I would assume they would have had like a gate protecting the harbour, right? And I was thinking would it just be like, could you
possibly?
So I'm thinking
if it's something like they're across Constantinople with the Byzantines, they had a great chain which they pulled up, which stopped ships coming across. So I mean, obviously that's quite a few centuries later, but I'm sure there might be some sort of protection within the harbour itself. But I mean, you had catapult teremes there, sort of firing sort of flaming balls into the city. So I'm pretty sure you could probably do that. But I've already had someone actually ask me on the video I put up, sort of saying they were quite confused about how will naval battles themselves actually work, because they were like, well, it's not like Empire or even Shogun where you could get like cannons within some ships, and sort of I guess that's interesting point, kind of developing from Shogun 2, which is a lot later in history. But I guess you've got sort of ballistas mounted on the front of ships. You've got catapults. You've got boarding parties that will be kind of pairing up ships and hopping across. But I guess they can also ram, which is a feature introduced in Fall of the Samurai. That mechanics, perhaps you can sort of, I know from what I've read that ships could ram through each other and we're sort of like trying to split the hull open and make them drown and things like that.
Yeah. Following on from what you said there, do you think you're going to just be controlling groups of ships as like one whole unit? Or do you think they're going to split that and you're not going to be able to control individual ships anymore? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they already said that you control groups now. I think that's what they said at least. Well, I'm pretty sure they said that, or it just had to do with the spawning of the ship. Like, I'm sorry, the building of the ship.
Yeah, so maybe it'll be like the group
one at a time.
feature in the other Total War games where you can control the whole group, but you could control the individual ship as well if you wanted.
Maybe it would
I think maybe I guess it depends how the pathfinding's developed, because it could get quite messy if you've got, say, I don't know, 2 ships grouped together and they're both going for a certain point and they don't quite meet up. Whereas if you could split them then from that group, but they'd still be, if you clicked on the unit card, it would select both, sort of thing. Maybe there's a hybrid system there, but I guess that's something we'll see as it develops.
Another thing I thought about was if Carthage did have ships in its harbour, and then Rome was invading like that, the Carthage's ships could come out and they'd fight them as the Roman ships were trying to get to the beach, and that could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That seems like massive. Like it seems too big. Like it seems like they're aiming for way too much than they can. Well, obviously they're showing that they can do it, but like what Chris just said. Imagine having a second massive fleet, Carthaginian fleet, trying to stop the Roman soldiers from getting to the.
It is going to be. I mean, navies are going to be so important. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the number of times I've stopped a naval invasion by taking out the fleet that's carrying a full stack army, and sort of saved myself from being invaded by just taking out the ships. They've had like 3 ships, and I've gone in with 5 and just annihilated them. That whole army sunk. So that's going to be like so much more important. You're going to have to really protect your navies, especially if they're carrying like your elite army, because now it is quite representational that perhaps as well that would be something to see if if you lose a naval battle, but say you had 5 ships and you lose 3, you've got 2 that remain. Will the units that were on those 3 group ships, as it were, will they die, or will they be sort of magically transported to the others and not show in the rest of the naval battles? So, because in previous titles you could lose all of the ships bar 1 and the full stack army would just all sit on that one tiny little sloop or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like so far they're going for a more realistic thing, because on each individual ship you could just see the one like unit. So I'm not sure that. I'm also wondering if they're going to give the navy things like if they're going to push it to the point where soldiers need supplies and stuff on the sea, because that used to be a big thing, I'm sure.
I wonder if maybe it'll be a sort of thing, talking about the supplies that you've thought of. I wonder if it'll be you'll have to plan to move your army on your fleet in sort of sections. So like when you recruit a fleet, you'll have a set number of supplies when it leaves the port, and then you have like a distance to travel before those supplies start getting depleted. You'd have to, like, I don't know, get off the, park your navy offshore somewhere and resupply before you can move on, maybe. Because that would add more realism to it.
I reckon that would be... Yeah, for sure. Because that would limit people from just sailing about around to the other side of the continent. And just, like, because, especially if you don't... Because you're not going to have any allies, further up. So there's not going to be any place you can dock and resupply. So that would be an awesome addition they could add. So, anyone else got anything on the Navy they'd like to talk about?
No, I think we talk about everything, really.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think we'll move on to obviously what it looked like when the units,
the
actual land battle, when that kicked in.
It all happened so quickly. Like suddenly they're all they're in position, all behind barricades, and Oh, it was just
Yeah.
exciting. You just
Yeah.
suddenly the battle started. It just so quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was freaking
One
awesome.
thing I one thing I liked in it was the unit camera. They've actually, you
Yeah.
know, since Empire, you've been able to sort of press the insert on your keyboard, and you suddenly you're looking at you're like in the battle as if you're one of the soldiers, but you can't do much else other than just sort of look directly
Yeah.
at what your unit's looking at. I think the fact that this time they're actually putting in a unit camera where you can look around, I think that's pretty awesome. You actually get to be in the battle itself and actually be
Yeah.
able to look around the battle rather than at what your unit is looking at.
Yeah.
And you actually get to look up close to the facial animations that they're bringing in. They've been talking a lot about the facial animations they're going to be bringing for each individual unit. So, you know, if they get injured or killed or something, their facial expression will show pain or, you know, being scared or whatever and things like that.
I mean,
which I think is pretty good.
I know I've said it before in other podcasts we've done, but this is really going to kill any ability I had to ever play Total War games because I'm just going to be zoomed in 24/7. It's just why the hell would I ever want to look out at these sweet ass animations and the soldiers like crying and like battle cries and you know screaming out orders. I'm never going to want to look away. It's just going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see that the sort of Supreme Commander view thing
That-
where you see
Yeah, that
the
looks
whole
awesome.
battlefield zoomed out? So it's like the opposite of
Yeah.
what Lionheart was saying. It's like who's going to be sitting in that? Like when you've got all those
I guess
animations
that,
to look
that
at.
could be really good. I guess as perhaps for as commentators doing like replays, you'll be able to get that whole tactical view, so you can actually maybe
Yeah.
if there was I don't know it would be really interesting if perhaps the Creative Assembly considered this idea, but I don't know, those of you that perhaps played the original Supreme Commander, you could have a dual monitor setup and you could actually have on the other monitor the kind of tactical view, and on the main monitor you could have like zoomed in on the actual battle. So if maybe there was some kind of support there, or if in the top window you could have that would be just I would have thought a really cool, nice little feature.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I actually saw one comment somewhere. I'm not sure which video it was on, but this one guy was talking about the Creative Assembly if they did it on the iPad somehow, where you have the layout of what's happening on the battle, because you saw that Creative Assembly moved towards the
Yeah, then they did that with
portable
Shogun too.
gaming system, of course, with Total War
Yeah.
battles. Yeah, so you have these things. So and you see plenty of other games now allowing you to use the map. Skyrim, an example, you can use the map of Skyrim on your iPad while you're playing the game. So yeah, things like that with that.
Just diverting slightly, talking about maps, that's just made me
Yeah.
think. The scale of the map that was in the demo is absolutely amazing. You know, when I don't know whereabouts it was, but when in the demo the Romans breached the Carthaginian walls and started fighting in the streets, they moved the camera around the whole city, and you could actually, when you're on the beach, you could see the city in the background, like the distant part of the city. And then all of a sudden he's moving his camera to that point, and it's actual buildings, it's actual roads, places you can actually send your troops. It's not just like background imaging to make up for the rest of the map that isn't there, which I thought was pretty good. And also the overhead camera that allows you to decide which objectives are best to go for at certain points in the battle and things, I thought was pretty good as well. You get a good overview of the entire objective screen, which I thought was quite good. I can't remember what you called it though.
Yeah, well, also if I don't think a lot of people noticed, you might have, but if you actually look at some points where he's panning the map around, that isn't just a one section of the beach. Like you can see, especially when he goes into that Supreme Commander type strategic map, you can see there's the rest of the beach having, there's more happening down near the beach. You can see the rest of the blue units. I'm not sure where, maybe that was the AI controlled army, because it looked like he had enough soldiers already, honestly, moving in there. But you could see more siege towers and catapults firing in the, towards the left hand of the screen. So I'm not sure if you can control the entire army, but it would be insane if you could.
You're going to have to be a lot
just the
quicker and
scale's
think
amazing.
about what you're going to do a lot faster, I think, when you're actually going to be fighting in battles, because it's going to be that much more fast-paced. Because there's going to be so much more things you need to think about and decide on quickly that could affect the entire battle, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he kept the guy who was doing the talking. I think he was the creative director. He kept drilling home that thing about the more of a cat and mouse gameplay, where you don't just fall back to the center, like the town center. now you funnel units, like, you know, you trap your enemies. Basically, what, you know, so you set up these mad ambush points where you have. I'm hoping that they bring, you know, the garrisons. You can put like
I
archers
think you
in houses
can.
and stuff. That would be cool because they
Yeah.
said they, yeah, that would
Mm.
be awesome. Because obviously they already have it in Empire and
It
Napoleon.
would
They
be
didn't have
cool if
building.
that's
Yeah, there weren't any
expanded so they can
buildings
have like
in
archers on
Shogun.
the
So
rooftops of like the buildings and stuff. Because I know some of the
yeah,
initial
yeah,
trailers that I've seen for Rome 2 already, they've shown kind of people being pushed off buildings, and I think that'd be really cool if they fought on top of buildings and
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah.
But like going
Yeah.
on to that whole dynamic of you don't just retreat to the town centre anymore. That's kind of their build upon with their sieges, which I think everyone's been waiting for since they saw how disappointing sieges were in Empire with just boring old forts, and pathfinding was just a mess, and everyone was like, we've just had basically 3 years waiting for this playing Medieval 2, and that's had great castles and things like that, and now we've got boring old forts, where now Rome looks like it's set to bring everybody back to the great sieges that we've missed and improve them even more. So they've said you've got different capture points. You don't just capture the town square. You've got to perhaps probably capture the main gate. You've probably got to capture, I don't know, maybe the barracks or the armory or something like that, or part of the lower town and the upper town, or the main fort or something like that. But it just gives that whole new dynamic where you don't just now just funnel all your troops down the main street right to the end to win. You've got to capture key positions, and I guess it makes defending a bit more interesting, rather than once they've taken the walls, you pull back to the main square. You've got to then commit some troops to, say, I don't know, the northwest side or whatever, to defend that part. Or it's just going to be. I'm really looking forward to sieges, because sort of looking over the features, while they are bringing in loads of new ones, most of them I feel are personally building upon existing things, and kind of like the two main big features that I feel that are kind of presenting itself is, one, obviously the combination of land and naval battles, but also this heavy focus on reworking sieges to make them interesting, playable, and not anything like empires.
Yeah.
it's probably the goal. Yeah. So with the, like we're saying all that, and how they're bringing all the changes in, do you reckon that you know, they've made some mistakes in the past? Shogun's sieges were pretty simple as well. You could have some tactics, but it really was, you know, you burn down the gate or you run up the wall. And then for the samurai, I was kind of disappointed, because if you had the Armstrong cannons,
You didn't need to send in
Yeah.
troops. You just needed
Basically, you
artillery,
just-
and that was it.
yeah, and that was it. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering how they're going to. Obviously, the firepower isn't the same, but how they're going to structure how powerful, you know, artillery is, and the amount you can bring. Because judging by the amount of just normal soldiers you can bring, will they limit the amount of, you know, catapults you could bring to the field? Because you could just burn everything in the town, and yeah, that seems like it seems like they're going to have a lot to do to learn how to, what's the word? Like keep everything in check, balanced against the AI and stuff. So
Urban
anyone else have
warfare.
any other points?
You get to see, they talked about how they're going to include urban warfare, where it's going to be troops are properly fighting in the streets, in the rubble of buildings that have been destroyed. You actually get to see demo a little taster of what that's be. I mean, what that'll be. I mean, obviously it's still very early days, and it's got a long way to go before it's perfected. But you know, you get a little view of what urban warfare is going to be like, and I think what's quite cool is, when we mentioned earlier about, you know, being able to put people in buildings, towards the end of the demo, before there's that whole elephant charge in the street, you actually see a building collapse. You actually see 2 or 3 guys actually fall off that building as it's collapsing and falling into rubble.
Yeah.
I think the urban warfare is going to be probably one of the signature parts of Rome 2 when it comes out, I reckon.
Do you know what I'd like to see in sieges is, you know,
Yeah.
if you went in the camera, you could actually go and look at the city in Rome Total War 1, and you actually just look at the city when there was no fighting
Oh,
going on,
yeah.
and you see lots
Yeah, I
of
remember
citizens walking about. I want to actually see citizens running
Yeah.
away from the invading soldiers and stuff. Like, where is everyone? It's like a ghost town. Like, I want to actually see people screaming and running away and, like, you know, gathering their belongings
Yeah.
and
Well, I
heading to the
think
castle.
Diplex brought that up. Yeah, Diplex brought that up in the last podcast about like a more ambient battlefields, with having like well, he said maybe that, you know, in the open fields you see deer or something, but in this one it would be crazy, but maybe I don't know, with having already so many troops detailed to the point where they are, you know, Imagine having to add civilians running around screaming and soldiers just pillaging everything. But it'd be an awesome addition, of course, to have that.
And even
Just
just
makes
sounds or
everything a
something
bit
would
more
be quite good.
realistic.
You
But
know,
you're right. Yeah.
if people scream.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot more to go. You know, there are some things people are saying maybe make you know how civilians are basically like the lifeblood of a town, of course. So we're saying like when you raid a city or you capture a city and now you can like some people are saying if the civilians become like a stack of like roaming people, so they can like a roaming group of people moving to a next point, you can like capture them or it, send them into slavery or something like that. That'd be a crazy idea to be able to prevent the citizens getting to another town. But this all just depends on how much they put into the economy and stuff, because I don't know. Judging by the last Shogun, it seems to be streamlined a lot more, which isn't always a problem. But at the same time, I think some of us would prefer to have like a really deep, just to feel that it's your choices that are making the differences in your empire. So yeah.
This is quite a small thing to think about, but I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do about the natural side of the battles. You know what I mean, like the weather and the terrain and things like that. I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out, because in the past Total War games you've got, the weather is either going to be one thing throughout the entire battle, or it'll interchange and it will like cut short, or it'll be bright and sunny, and then all of a sudden it'll be raining without even any warning. I'm interested to see what sort of like natural effects they're going to include in the battle, whether they're going to improve on those that they currently have, and whether they'll actually have an effect on the battle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got things perhaps like kind of maybe
true.
stormy seas would threaten your ships, and
Yeah.
and I guess it's kind of building on that. They brought in a new lighting system for Shogun 2, which I only saw a few times, but when I did see like a flash of lightning, it did look pretty cool. But I guess all that just kind of adding in again the terrain features as well would be pretty cool as well. Perhaps if they can finally work out a way to get kind of archers' range extended if they're up on a hill compared to a unit that's trying to fire up it, because I know they had issues with that with the Warscape engine that they're still using for Rome 2. But I guess we'll see. But again, I mean, just from that video, I'm so impressed, and this is not even like proper alpha footage yet, and it's still like another full year to go until we see a final product. But I mean, if this is what it's like now, it's gonna be an epic game. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
when he said it was alpha, before he said it, I was like, oh, okay, they've done quite well. This must be sort of alpha, maybe ready to go into beta footage. It looks really, really good. And then he said, yeah, we're not even in proper alpha yet. And I pretty much just paused the video and took it in for a minute and just sort of thought about it. I was like, where is this going? What's he talking about? And then just carried on with the demo.
Yeah,
I'm really, really excited.
And the way he was saying towards the end, like, oh, and because it's not even proper alpha yet, we still got loads more animations to add in, loads more graphics to add in. I was like, the graphics look amazing. Have you seen how good those waves look? I mean, to me, that was the first thing I saw when they were jumping off the ships. The water looked amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, the units as well, like especially that in on the soldier kind of shoulder camera view they've got now as well. I think there's definitely going to be a lot of cinematic videos made of just sort of that sort of view. I mean, it's just going to be
straight away, of course.
Well, yeah, graphically it's going to be insane.
I think we were saying before. One part we missed was that dude in the siege tower, the officer.
Yeah.
That absolutely blew me away. That I was so freaking so excited when I saw that. Because it zooms into that camera, and I think even when you're not in that camera mode, to me at least, it just seems like they've done something different. I'm not sure if maybe they've just changed the look of it, or it's just the graphics itself, but it just seems a lot more cinematic somehow.
They've said they've kind of gone for that more kind of cinematic, gritty feel of it with Rome 2.
That's the word. It just looked a lot more like he said. I think the example he gave, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
they're going up that beach.
You feel like you're sort of you could be there. It's really dramatic, and the visuals just look amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, that lieutenant that just turns around and says, I think it was to say get ready or something. I forgot the quote, but He's like he's pumping up all the soldiers to
But I
get
mean,
ready, and then
it's small features when they say there's going to be
just
the
drops.
generals will talk and shout orders in the middle of battle. I mean, that's just going to be so awesome just to see that happening like on a zoomed in level, just with all the battles and stuff and the units reacting to it.
I love how they said that for beach landings and stuff,
For me,
with the facial animations and things, and how like scared troops are going to look and everything. I love how he said that. What was it? He said, I'm trying to quote it here, but it was something like, it's the D-Day of the ancient world, beach landings in Rome 2 or something like that. The whole, you got troops running around, you got commanders shouting orders here and there, and then you've got all these like catapult boulders hitting the beaches all around them, and then you got all the facial animations showing how scared or, how anxious to get off the beaches all the troops are and everything like that, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
When I first heard about the facial animations, I honestly thought that they're just going to do it for historical generals. That was my thought in it, like, just Scipio and the rest of them, like Hannibal and stuff. I had no idea they're going to do it for each soldier. Like, I know it's not an individual face, but I didn't know they're going to add the facial animations to each soldier. So that was an amazing thing they're doing now. Like, I know they have it for Shogun, but it's like a very limited range. I think they just like seem scared. I think that's it. And then they just go back to fighting. But yeah, this looks absolutely amazing with the sounds and the graphics and all that. Do you guys actually see? There's that little point where they get up onto the wall and some Carthaginian soldiers are throwing spears, and there's this one Carthaginian soldier just gets nailed by like 7 spears.
Yes,
He
straight
just drops
into
to his knees.
all over his back. He's on his knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just drops. And poor
Yeah,
dude,
you
he
can say he
keeps
got
like,
absolutely
but-
owned.
I like how they're keeping that feature they took from Shogun 2, where you actually get to keep where the arrows actually stay in the enemy soldier when he gets killed by like arrow fire or something. Because if you look, you actually see the javelins and the arrows sticking out of him, and it looks like they don't just hit him and then disappear like they used to in like past Total War games. They're actually staying there, which makes it look more realistic as well.
For sure. Well, the one thing that obviously this is a minor thing because, like we said a couple of times, it's alpha. There doesn't seem to be any inclusion of blood yet, which is it seems like something people were going to bring up soon enough because of the whole blood DLC. But I hope they add blood personally. It just makes it that whole.
I reckon they will add the blood, but we'll probably see another DLC pack for it. Just so I think it's so that they can address their ratings and keep the rating for the main game to like a 16, and then if you want the DLC, it's because I think that was like the main concern with the other one. I mean, not that I guess in this day and age it's not that difficult for people under the age rating to go, Mum, Dad, buy me this game, or you just buy it anonymously online or whatever. So I guess it's not much of an issue, but I guess for them as a business, they have to look for what they want to brand the main core essentials of the game as, and I guess that's got to be like a 16. And then probably the blood pack will be just like a cheap £1 or whatever, a couple of dollars or whatever. Again, as an 18 unlock sort of thing to put the option in.
Yeah, better decapitations and everything again, because some of those kills you see for Samurai were just amazing. But like there's little scenes if you're paying attention to just certain little units in the demo, you can see the kills they do. Like they hit them with the shield and then they thrust forward with the
Gladius.
short blade.
Gladius.
I'm blanking out on the name. It's the Gladius. Yeah, they just thrust it forward and they stab them right in the chest. They've really nailed the whole brutality of it. Like the guy had mentions that in Shogun you had the finesse of the samurai, seeking each other out. And because I'm pretty, as far as I know, in some cases the samurai thought it was dishonorable to stab someone in the back. So as far as I know, but the Romans didn't care.
Yeah, just see the units like smashing right into each other, and all the men just like interspersing,
Yeah, that was the mad thing. And then the battle just rages on, and
if you think the melee between the troops is brutal, think about what's going to happen when they finalize fighting against the elephants. Imagine how brutal that's going to look if they're going to include things like decapitation between infantry. You're going to get troops being literally squished by like the feet of the elephants as they charge through.
Oh.
Or they get
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
you know, what about with
Hanging on.
catapults? You know, catapult boulders hitting an entire unit. You know, what's going to happen to the troops that get actually hit by the boulder directly?
Yeah.
Which is going to be weird. But
Yeah.
It's just going to be freaking crazy. The amount of, if they did add that level of gore.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
just gonna be
like Lionheart
insane.
said, I think it'll be probably just sort of details would be something that you can add, you know, optionally through a DLC. I reckon if they want to include things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, to keep the rating to a 16.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a major thing either. Like no one really complained with Shogun or anything else really. It's just a small thing that certain people decide to put in, especially with like the mods for Empire and Napoleon adding. There's that little blood splatter when they get shot. But it's nothing major that people really,
No.
I think, will complain
Yeah, I
about.
want to kind of in between medieval and Shogun's one, because Shogun's one was a bit weird, like especially if you like zoomed in to get a good view, it would like splatter on your screen, like a big.
Yeah, I think because the guy
Yeah.
said that they're going for like an artistic Japanese calligraphy, something like that. Well, I know, not
This
calligraphy.
style,
Sorry.
yeah.
Like their
I
art
think
or
in
something
Rome
like
2
that.
we'll get a bit more,
Yeah.
with the whole thing focused on a more cinematic, gritty sort of style. I think we will get a bit more realistic sort of blood rather than sort of this. I mean, as you said, like you definitely know when you see the blood splatter in Shogun 2 that it's a Japanese game, because it's just the art style is so unique. You just instantly go, oh, of course it's Japanese. You look at the blood splatter, look at the way it's formed. So, but I think with Rome 2 we'll get a bit more of a realistic blood and gore experience.
I want to see someone get stabbed by a tusk and thrown by the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah, just hanging off the elephant. Well, I think we spoke enough about about the gameplay, what we can see in the demo at least. Anyone else have anything about the demo?
Yeah, well,
in
as you can
particular?
see from the video, when you look down, you can actually see your army is a color, and then you can see the rest of all the other fleets and stuff. So it's not just you. There's a lot more happening, and then obviously there's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot happening at once. Like as I said, it's gonna be quick. Like you got a siege tower, you got catapults breaking down the walls, and you got people going into the port. Like that's the thing. I'm like, whoa, pause. Come on. Yeah, but
multitasking.
also think
like a
also think about
you have to multitask.
catapults.
boss.
I think that I've always noticed if you hit a big group, and so instead of them going flying about 200 meters, they just go on their knees and die. Like, come on, catapults just hit you. I want to see people flying across like the map.
Yeah. Well, yeah. To a certain point there, because like a catapult wouldn't really have an explosion, but yeah, it'd lob you a fair bit.
Fair
if you got
bit,
hit
yeah.
directly. But yeah, I'm wondering. I didn't think they showed the Tessudo or any formation and stuff like that. But yeah, anyone else have any specific?
I
points
think
about
that what they've done well is in past videos about with them saying what they're going to do, they said they were going to have how in a siege the city will actually look like it's been damaged over a period of time, and how in the demo when they said, oh, it's been several years that the city's been under siege, and then you have the Romans land, a lot of the city's walls are crumbling, there are towers that have just completely collapsed. You know, they've actually kept their word, and they're actually doing what they can to make sure that you get that feel the city has been under siege for however many years or months or however long, and has actually been damaged over that time from constant attacks. I think that's quite a good feature.
Well, there's one thing again I want to bring up. In constantly throughout the time the Romans invaded, they had these points where they would actually get inside the city, and then the fighting would stop. Like weirdly enough, as weird as it sounds, like there was one perfect example was when the Romans took Jerusalem. They actually fought for like 5 days inside the city, but there were points where it actually stopped when they got to each inner ring. Like the soldiers would retreat to like the Jewish soldiers would retreat, you know, to like a higher level. Then the fighting would just stop. And I know that it's all in one continuous thing, but I'm wondering if say that you get to that point where you're fighting through and you think you could do a tactical retreat, would you lose all that ground? Because like you said before, Alex, it's a massive area. You know, you don't want to have to refight to take that whole thing. So it'd be good to add like a tactical, like something to do. You know, because you know maybe you just don't think you have enough soldiers right there then and there.
Yeah.
to finish the job.
Maybe you could take like some of the cities
Yeah.
in increments or something like that. Is that what you're suggesting? Like take the first wall and then.
Yeah. Like they said there's objectives, but like hopefully that if you don't think you have enough soldiers to finish the job, to fight them all the way to the peak, it would be cool to be able to stop the battle, not in terms of just like it's like a tactical retreat basically, and just hold the area you have. Don't advance, and you don't really just lose everything and have to rebuild your army, attack and push through the walls all over again. But yes, stuff like that would be a good inclusion, I believe, in the game. Now if before, like, we've already been talking for a decent amount of time about like a 9-minute demo, but I think we should move on maybe a bit of the things that anyone wants to say about the campaign map or anything like that in particular. Like the amount of units you can put up in massive legions and stuff like that. Anyone have any ideas or opinions that would like to just share about that?
Well, I know
we pretty much covered the campaign map in the first podcast that we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did too, didn't we? Yeah, well, it was we had a decent talk about that, and like we said, it was a 9-minute demo, and we got a decent amount out of that. So the demo should have already been playing through maybe once or twice, but there should have been some other gameplay as well playing in the background. So if you guys obviously did enjoy this, hit the like button, so forth, do the same thing. You hear it all the time from all the different YouTubers.
Yeah, just one quick thing. Just like they've done such a good job on just these two factions, Carthage and Rome. We're forgetting about all the other factions. Like, think about it. Like, you got all the Greeks, you got all the barbarians. I'm just looking forward to what everything is going to look like. It's just exciting. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, anyone gonna say anything?
Yep, we're good.
Yeah, we're all good.
Yep.
The demo was awesome.
More.
We want more. Yeah.
let's just hope they do some beta testing or something like that. And we all know freaking Lionheart.
I'd love to take part in beta testing.
You're going to be playing.
I just want to try it. I want to be able to sort of try and be like, I'm definitely getting this game now. I really want to try it.
Well, people would have already pre-ordered off that 9
probably.
Demo, so so that just alone. So yeah, thanks to all you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, so interesting podcast about the demo. We'll link it in the description with all the hosts and all that. So thanks again, guys, for watching. See ya.